Well, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that people have really straightened up their act. And that National Public Radio has a show, KOUW radio, I think it is. They have a show where they've interviewed this lady who has done a lot of work on UFOs. She's sort of a skeptic, but she brings up something that's been claimed many times over the years, that in the 50s and 40s and 50s and 60s, most of the UFOs were sightings of high-altitude spy planes, the U-2 and the follow-ons. And this was an argument that was made by Gerald K. Haynes, a historian who wrote a history of CIA involvement with UFOs that was published in 1997. And he fell hook, line, and sinker for the explanation offered by some of the guys on the high-altitude aircraft, spy aircraft programs back in the 50s. They were claiming that once their planes started going in August 1955, the number of UFO reports shot upwards, and the U-2 was causing 50% of the sightings or something like that.
But you know,
I analyzed that claim and proved that it was totally ridiculous. And if you go to my website and find an article, CIA explanation, and you read the article and you'll see statistically it makes no sense. There was no increase in sighting rate when the U-2 started to fly. And you would expect that if the U-2 was causing 50% of the sightings.
Well, you know, what I can't understand, Bruce, you know, originally the U-2 and all these spy planes were developed and tested out of Area 51 to begin with back in 1955. But, you know, what state has one of the least reports of UFOs is Nevada for some reason. I would think they would have the highest. Of course, they don't have the population a lot of states have because...
They got big areas of nothing.
Yeah, a lot of military big nothings out there, too.
Well, that's why they're there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I would still think, you know, that, you know, every time I would go and see my friend over in Pahrump when he was still alive, you know, going from like Reno to Las Vegas or to Pahrump and all that stuff, I would see all kinds of aircraft, you know, fighters, you name it, you know, the B-1s or whatever they were back then. And you know, some of the stealth plane fighters and bombers could, I think, again, kind of mimic like UFOs, especially if you see it at nighttime, you know, and I think a lot of people maybe mistaked a lot of those type of planes for UFOs.
Well, that may be, I guess, the triangular craft are more likely to be seen now. But I think there are many cases where the triangles were actually UFOs rather than B-2 or something flying around.
Well, the triangle thing, Bruce, really has me really, you know, I've been doing this a long time. And, you know, when I started back in 76, people would report UFOs. Like they were 25 feet, 50, 100 feet in diameter. Now people are saying, I see these triangles and they're big as a Walmart store or they're huge. And, you know, and what's your feeling on stuff like that?
Oh, well, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, you consider the Phoenix Lights story. Not the lights themselves at 10 o'clock, which in my opinion, are the flares that were dropped. But at 8:30, when a big triangle went over Phoenix, and some people were in the right place to be able to estimate the size of this triangle as being hundreds of feet across from one light to another.
Well, you know, that's what is scary. You know, my friend who's no longer with it, Art Bell, and his wife at the time were on a balcony, and he claimed, and he told me, because we would talk off air, he said that was his first sighting and only sighting of a UFO, a triangle that made no sound, just kind of floated by. and was there for, a couple minutes just going. And, that convinced him that UFOs do exist.
Mm-hmm. You saying he saw that at the time of the Phoenix Light sightings or something?
No, I think this was in the mid-'90s. Him and Lamone were out on a deck somewhere, and this UFO triangle thing just passed by, not making any type of noise or any type of sound. And and he didn't believe in UFOs. I mean, he had a lot of people on, talking about, UFOs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but that was enough to convince him that they exist.
Yeah, right. Well, they say seeing is believing. Unfortunately, with fake computer-generated imagery nowadays, we don't know for sure that seeing is believing.
Well,
seeing might be disbelieving.
They're getting good. I tell you that, because I get a lot of pictures people sending me on a regular basis. Oh, like, look at this UFO, and you sit at it, and again, if you stare at it long enough and look at it, you can tell it's been manipulated. But it's hard. It's not like back, 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, when you have to sandwich negatives together to get the special effects. I mean, the technology has advanced so far now on, imaging software that it's really hard to tell which is real and which is fake, both video and, pictures.
Right.
So,
well, I don't know what can be done about that other than studying the situation and trying to be aware of all the techniques that could be used. My own experience with lots of UFO photos is that people send me stuff they didn't see at the time the picture was taken, and after they look at it, they say, "Oh, look at that thing in there. Could that be a UFO?" No, I don't consider those to be fakes. They're not CGI necessarily. They're something that was there, but was probably too close to the camera to be a big object. And if it was a small object close to the camera, that would explain why the person hadn't seen it, didn't pay any attention to it.
Oh, yeah.
That type of picture takes up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah, a lot of time. In fact, some of those type I can't prove or disprove. I mean, you look at them and you go, wow. So what do you think what's going to happen with disclosure? Again, back going for the last 6 months, it's been a major hype on that all this major disclosure was going to happen. So far, it hasn't. Do you think it's going to actually happen in our lifetime or in near future? I'm getting old myself. I'll be 68 in the next couple months, and
you're young.
Well, you're probably in better physical shape than I am right now. But I'm just saying, the way the technology is going and, all this stuff about disclosure, I don't know. I got mixed feelings on it, big time.
Oh, well, I have long said that the government won't say anything until more than 50% of the people are witnesses. Maybe 90% of the people are witnesses or something. And then somebody will stand up and say, "Hey, look, they're real," and everybody else will agree. Yep, and the government will say, "We knew it all along."
Yeah. Would the government admit after lying so long? I mean, you can only use hey, it was a weather balloon or a swamp gas so long.
Yeah. Well, now they got CGI to fall back on.
So how heavy do you still investigate UFOs at this point?
How heavy? What did you say?
How heavy are you still in, UFOs?
It still takes up a large chunk of my time, and now since I've been retired since 2008, I've had time to do stuff I wouldn't have done otherwise, like write books. But I keep tracking what's going on Facebook and other sources of information. I haven't had a lot of super meaty cases to investigate recently. The last really in-depth investigation was the sightings by the Mexican Air Force over the Yucatan Peninsula back in 2004, where they had these lights with that FLIR forward-looking infrared camera that's picking up lights off to their left side, lights that look like they're traveling in parallel motion with the airplane itself. And I showed that wasn't the true case. But there was a UFO associated with those events. It was something that was detected on radar before they saw any lights. They were traveling along and catching up from behind some object they were picking up on radar, and they couldn't see anything, and the FLIR didn't pick up anything. And yet the radar was giving a good, strong signal of an object that was as close as 2 miles from them. At 2 miles, they should have been able to see anything that we have that would be flying at a couple of 100 miles an hour. But there was nothing there, so the beginning of that sighting actually had a radar UFO involved. But the rest of it was most likely flames, fires on the gas burn-off fires from an oil field that was in the direction these people were looking.
Interesting. So
you often see this short clip of the video showing, I think, two groups of 3 lights in a triangular shape, a double triangular shape, sort of traveling along behind clouds and so on, as if it was some distance from the airplane, but traveling parallel to it. I calculated that what they were actually seeing, the lights, was fires on gas burn-off fires on an oil field on the north side of the Yucatan Peninsula, or maybe I should say the northwest part of the Yucatan Peninsula. And it was surprising to be able to see those flares that far away.
Oh yeah.
But that was 100 miles. But those flares were definitely within the field of view of the camera.
You know what I find interesting?
Anyway, I did some work on this Tic Tac video.
Yeah, I want to hear about that. But we got to go, Bruce. We got to go in a commercial in a minute. I do want to thank you for your service, and I believe the Navy in serving our country and everything you've done for the community on UFOs. You know, I do read and follow what you put up like on Facebook, and I tell you, it's refreshing because there's so much propaganda on Facebook when it comes to UFOs. You just read it, and I'm amazed. But some of the statements that some people even begin to post about seeing sightings of UFOs or disclosure or all this stuff, it's frustrating.
Well, there are a few groups out on Facebook that try to keep it as rigorous as possible, but not being able to get as much data as you need makes it difficult to get a correct analysis of a lot of the stuff that shows up.
Oh yeah,
on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
Sometimes I wonder, a lot of stuff on Facebook is up there for disinformation.
I suppose that's possible. But there are a number of people who have been appearing on Facebook for, let's say, 10 years. They're not likely to be just messing around, putting fake stuff up.
Yeah.
I guess there are some like the what's that? Some groups that